Welcome and thank you for joining us for our second back to school night at Immaculate Conception High School here in Lodi. Tonight, we will give you a glimpse of the amazing things happening here during the second semester. Always remember that we are here for you. I now would like to begin the evening by welcoming our campus minister, our spiritual guide, our biggest supporter, our loudest cheerleader, and most importantly, our great friend, Sister Alexander Siegel, to begin the evening in prayer.
Thank you, Mrs. Cavall, and welcome everybody to Back to School Night for the second semester. Let us begin as we begin all good things in Immaculate Conception in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. A Christian is a mind through which Christ thinks, a heart through which Christ loves, an eye through which Christ looks, a face through which Christ smiles and encourages people, a hand through which Christ touches, and a voice through which Christ offers hope. That's what you and I are in this life, channels for Christ carrying love. As we begin with great energy the second semester that takes us all to the finish line of this school year, may we be the heart, eye, face, hand, and voice of Christ to one another in school, our homes, and our world. Then you and I and everybody will make a difference. Amen. Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception, pray for us. Blessed Mary Angela, pray for us. And now it's my great honor to introduce our head of school, Mr. Joseph R. Aslino. Take it away.
Thank you, sister. Thank you for those beautiful words, that beautiful prayer. As we all know, we always begin all good things and every moment here at Immaculate Conception with a prayer. I want to thank Ms. Koval for putting together tonight's Back to School Night 2.0. I want to welcome everybody this evening. We also have some future Blue Wolves here on our Google Meet this evening, and I want to welcome you to get a glimpse of what we are all about. Again, I want to first and foremost thank everyone for their cooperation. As we all know, you've heard me say it multiple times, it is an unprecedented time, not only in the world, but especially in education. It is so important that our communication remain constant and that we follow our protocols with regard to COVID safety and to ensure that the entire community remains safe and healthy. I know Ms. Kadersha, who's going to be speaking in a minute, will really go into some of the details of our plan and just as simple reminders. But again, I cannot stress enough, if your child has any symptoms, please, she can stay home. It's okay. She can telecommunicate into her class until those symptoms subside or until maybe she even gets COVID tested. It is so important. The only way we can keep our doors open and our students in school is if you can take responsibility for yourselves. And again, I thank all of you that have done that. I know it's constant emailing, phone calls, maybe even some text messages, and I understand that. And it's difficult. It's difficult for all of us. But again, my job first and foremost is to ensure your daughter's safety as well as the safety of the entire staff. So please, let's continue to do that. There's a lot of exciting things. Hopefully you've all dug out from the 20 inches of snow, depending on where you are. Hopefully you're safe. The muscles are sore, I'm sure. Maybe a few Advil and we can get through those sore muscles. So again, welcome to the second semester. It is Catholic Schools Week. We're going to celebrate a little later on in February when everybody's back in the building, and we're very excited about that. So without further ado, please give your attention to our school nurse, my partner in this, someone who I communicate constantly with, and there is no way we as a community, as a school community, could ever have gotten through this without the patience, expertise, organizational skills, and pure passion for this school without Mrs. Stephanie Kadersha. Stephanie, it's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, I'm going to try to present. Welcome, everybody. Okay, here we go. Perfect. I just have a few reminders for everybody. There we go. Okay, I hope you can all see. Hopefully somebody sends me a quick text that I'm on. Okay, so just a quick little update. Where do we stand at IC? Okay, to date, we have had a total of 11 reported cases of COVID-19 within our community. Only 2 of these have been inside the school building while the individual was contagious. They were quickly isolated and close contacts were all quarantined. All of the other cases were never in the school building. They include outside exposures, such as if a family member was positive or fully remote students. From the 2 cases inside the building, as of now, we've had 0 of those quarantined develop COVID-19. What this means is that our safety protocols inside the building are working. Everything's working if we're not spreading it within the building, thank goodness. It's been shown both nationally and in New Jersey that in-school transmission is very low when the mitigation tools are in place. So what are we doing? We should all know we're the 3 W's: wearing a mask, watch your distance, wash your hands, temperature checks every day at all entrances. An important component is the daily symptom and exposure checklist that should be reviewed before coming to school. And it's reviewed also at the door with hanging posters. I'm going to go over that in more detail. Students and staff staying home when sick and communicating all illnesses or symptoms to myself is the most important part, like Mr. Aslino said. The school building is continuously being cleaned and disinfected. And if a student is sent home sick with any COVID-19 symptom, they may not return without a negative test. It used to be that if you went to your doctor and they said, oh, it's a sinus infection, as long as they wrote that, then the student can come back. But that's not the case anymore. It has to be with a negative test. So the daily symptom checker, this is what your students and all of our faculty and staff should be doing at home every morning. We also remind them at the door. All the normal stuff: temperature, cough, shortness of breath, sore throat, runny nose, congestion, I'll read them all through, muscle aches, chills, headache, loss of taste or smell, abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. If you have contact with someone who's currently sick, have you been diagnosed with COVID-19 or were you exposed to somebody with COVID-19? Have you traveled outside of New Jersey? And has anyone in your family been tested and still awaiting results? Or have you been tested? If you can answer yes to anything, please stay home and call me. In teenagers especially, the symptoms can be very vague. It's not, knock you down, in bed for a week, flu-like things. Sometimes it could just be a little bit of a sore throat and that's it. So please, any of these things that you can say yes to, please stay home. So we need to keep doing what we're doing, stay vigilant, get vaccinated if you're able to. Most important, stay home. I guess I'm getting that point across, huh? When in doubt, call and ask. If anyone in your household is sick or being tested due to symptoms, do not come to school until the results are obtained. Communication. So I just went over quickly what's the difference between quarantined and isolation. Just to remind you guys, if you've been exposed to COVID-19, positive case, you must quarantine for 14 days. That's because the incubation period is 2 to 14 days. Since New Jersey is still high risk in the orange level, it's still 14 days, even though the CDC did decrease it to 10. New Jersey Department of Health suggests still 14 because that's the safest. If you've traveled outside the immediate area, you have to quarantine for 10 days. We do discourage travel. So quarantine is for healthy people who are at risk for developing COVID-19. So they separate from others and watch for symptoms. Household members of those who are quarantining do not need to quarantine themselves. But if the individual starts to have symptoms, then they should quarantine until test results. Isolated, that's if you actually have COVID-19, and that's you isolate for 10 days since symptom onset. So it's hard if it's in the family because you have to try to isolate and use your own room and bathroom if possible. If it's not possible, that person has to quarantine for 14 days from when the person is cleared. Isolation is for sick people, and you can return to school when after 10 days and 24 hours, no fever and improvement of symptoms, because at that point you're no longer contagious. So here's the million-dollar question. When can I switch to temporary remote? Administrative permission is required for all temporary switches to remote learning. For health-related issues, speak to me. For academic-related issues, speak to Ms. Koval. Nobody can just switch on their own in the morning without speaking to one of us. If pre-COVID you would have been absent, then it's still an absence. If you're too sick to come in, then it's just an absence. And as usual, a doctor's note will excuse the absence. It's not for convenience, overslept, car trouble, too cold, don't ever ride. If you have a symptom though, and you don't feel well enough to come to school, but you may have in the past, like, oh, I have a headache, I have a sore throat, I have any of those things, you can go remote with permission and follow up with your doctor. If you're quarantined, you can go remote. If you traveled, you can go remote. Again, it must be cleared by administration. If a family member is sick or being tested for COVID-19, you can also go remote until the results are received. Lots of information, but as usual, please contact me with any questions. We're having a good year. We've been very, very blessed with people cooperating. We're very lucky. I'm just trying to see how to unshare. Did I? I think I did. Okay, we've been very lucky with everybody. Communication's been great. I have no complaints. Our families are totally invested in keeping everybody healthy, and I can't ask for anything more. Thank you for all the support. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Mrs. Jessica Catrona, the Associate Head of School and the Dean of Student Life.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Kadersha. And again, thank you for your help this year. And a special thank you to all the parents on tonight for your communication with us throughout the school year, because that really has made us successful to this point. And we can't thank you enough for that. I'm a true believer, and I know every faculty and staff member and administrator on this call agrees with me, that true education begins at home. And so again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know Mrs. Kadersha thanks you, Mr. Azzolino, all of us, for your communication with us so far. Just a few updates on my end. Student life, dress code, masks, seniors and senior parents. Thank you so much, especially the seniors and senior parents, because in the beginning of the school year, I always stress to the seniors, you are the leaders of the school, and you should be proud of that. And they have been doing such a great job really being those leaders and showing the underclassmen and the juniors, of course, that it is possible, even through COVID, to still follow rules and policies and do so with such grace. So I thank you, and I know that the parents have helped with that, and it's made our jobs and our lives so much easier, and I thank you. When it comes to assemblies and different activities for student life, we do have a lot of exciting things coming up. We actually have, I just found out yesterday actually, that we are going to have a self-defense class in March outside as soon as the weather gets warmer. And we also are having a suicide prevention assembly that we did have to unfortunately postpone due to weather and also a few other reasons, but we are going to, and you saw my communication on that, we are still going to have that assembly. The Student Advisory Program has been doing so many amazing things this year. And a few of those that I'll mention, just because I don't want to take up everybody's time tonight, but I do want to highlight some of those. Women empowerment, we've been stressing career opportunities. College reps, both in-state and out-of-state, have visited. Again, suicide awareness prevention has been coming through the last few weeks. Being kind and emphasizing that. Just because we had a Be Kind assembly last year doesn't mean, or 2 years ago doesn't mean it goes away. We've been really stressing the importance of being kind to each other and really empowering young women to be not in competition with each other, but instead empowering one another and lifting each other up. And those are just a few highlights of the advisory program so far this year. And we, of course, have a few more months left to go. And also just a space for them to vent and talk and really be with one another. And it's so important to us that the remote students have been a part of that as well. Just a reminder also, Judy Beckmeyer, the certified school psychologist that we do have at our service on Tuesdays and Thursdays, is still available for anybody who may need further assistance outside of guidance, and it is confidential. If your daughter does need to speak to her, she can go to guidance, and then it will be filtered through there. Communication from Mrs. Kadersha, myself, Mrs. Larita. Again, please just make sure that you are checking your emails and text messages from us, and please communicate with us as soon as possible if there is any issue, any questions or concerns. It is so important that your voices are heard and your visions are brought to life, just like I say to the students, and that's what really makes our program successful. If anybody on this call is not receiving our emails or text messages at this point, please let us know, or if your email has changed, please let us know that, because it's really important that we are communicating with you on a daily basis. And again, I just encourage all of you to keep that communication with us at all times. And I thank you so much for your time this year, for communicating with us, and remembering that true education begins at home. and then we just carry that through here in our ICHS home. It is now my pleasure to introduce our athletic director, Mr. Dale Fava, who's going to update you on some of the athletic portions of tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Obviously, going to be receiving some emails about, regarding the basketball team and live streaming. We're going to go over that all right now. First off, I'm going to give you a little bit of update on the winter sports. Basketball is going to start, will start already January 11th. Competition was supposed to start January 26th, but our first game we will be playing will be tomorrow at Butler. Now, a lot of you parents are wondering, obviously, with the new NJSIAA rules, we can't have any crowd in the stands this year, unfortunately. So all games will be live streamed through the home team school. So for tomorrow's game, for instance, against Butler, you would have to go to Butler's high school website. Once you go there, you can go to the school calendar under sports, and you will see the game against Immaculate Conception High School. Now, once you click on that game, it will bring up the live link, and you'll be able to watch the game right there. So a little bit different this year, obviously. The only players and officials will be at the game, and the coaches. They are not letting any outsiders in for any reason. All right. The competition for basketball is going to end March 6th. Also for a couple other winter sports, swimming will be starting February 1st. Competition will start February 16th for swimming. Swimming is done a little bit differently this year. They adapted a new way of watching it. Unfortunately, all swim meets will be virtual, so we will not be competing against another team at our facility. We'll actually be live streaming it. Obviously, the individual practice that they're going to be taking their times, and the other team will take their times as well, and we'll compare times, and that's how they will declare the winner. There will be officials at each meet individually, but there will be no other team there during that dual meet. A little bit different, a little bit to get used to, but it is what it is. Those links will be provided on our website to the Boys and Girls Club, so you can stay tuned for those meets that will be posted as of next week. For track and field, unfortunately, there is not much competition this year. So track and field for winter will be basically a preseason for spring track. We are going to look to schedule some outdoor meets during the winter track, but depending on the weather, obviously we had a lot of snow. I don't really foresee us having any dual meets. So unfortunately, it's just going to be practice until we get ready for competition for spring track. So it's basically just our preseason following spring track this year for winter track. Girls volleyball and wrestling will start March 1st. Competition for both sports will start March 16th, and the season will be completed for both sports April 24th. Same thing, the links will be provided to you from the home team. So instead of getting the link through us, you can go to the away team, the home team schedule, click on that game or that match, go to that link and watch either the wrestling match or the volleyball game. If we are home, same thing with our site. You can go right onto our Immaculate Conception site under athletics and get the streaming link through there. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I know it is a little bit different, but it is what it is, and we're making best of it. And, the girls are excited to compete. I'm excited to be able to go finally and watch it, even though it's streaming. It's just something to get them back out there. Any questions, like I said, you can email me or even give me a call at my office. Now up next, we're going to be introducing Mr. Michael Wada with Performing Arts and Tech. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fava. My name is Michael Wada, and I am the IT coordinator. That's what I spoke about last time, mostly. Today, I'm going to speak in my other role, sort of as the director of Performing Arts, and I wanted to let everyone know what we are doing during these challenging times to still, do performing arts activities. So I'm happy to announce that we're doing 4 different things during this end of the school year. We're still going to do our vocal ensemble. If you didn't get a chance to check out our winter Christmas concert, I recommend that you go on our YouTube and find that and watch it. It was wonderful. We did a live stream recorded session, so that's fantastic. And we're planning on doing something similar for the spring for vocal ensemble. So vocal ensemble is going to continue. And then in terms of performing arts on the stage, we're going to do 3 different things this coming year. We're going to do a scene night where the students will be able to act out different scenes in small groups or solos, monologues, duets, things like that, where we can limit the number of students and maintain safe social distancing procedures. So that's going to be our first thing. So for our actresses, our aspiring actresses, we have that for them to participate in at the beginning. And then we're going to do something new this year, which we're going to film a short movie. And this is going to be all student done. We have some students that are currently in the process of writing and drafting and revising a script. So they're going to do the script, we're going to film it, we're going to record it. The students are going to do the sound and the video, and we're going to edit that together. And we'll have that out later towards the end of this year. That's going to be our lengthier project. So another chance for our students to showcase their acting abilities and be in a movie. And then towards the end of the year, we're going to do a musical review, sort of concert setting sort of singing, so that our students will be able to do a performing arts, exercise their talents in singing. Singing is a little difficult, obviously, with COVID restrictions and everything. So this is, again, going to be little duets, scenes, small groups, but we wanted to give our students an opportunity to still perform. All right, so keep your eyes out, look at our newsletter, things like that, for when these dates are going to come up and how you can participate and watch. If anybody has any questions or anything about wanting their students to participate in these things, they can reach out to me. They can come see me. Anyone can email me, mwada@ichslota.org, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. So I just thought give everybody a little update, and I hope you guys are as excited as I am to see performing arts happen again, because we've missed it, and we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to let our girls shine. So be sure to join us for those things. And now I want to turn it back over to Ms. Kelly Covell, our Dean of Academics.
Thank you, Mr. Wada. Thank you so very much for sharing all of the great updates at Immaculate Conception High School. Douglas MacArthur once said, "A true leader has the confidence to stand alone, the courage to make tough decisions, and the compassion to listen to the needs of others. He or she does not set out to be a leader, but becomes one by the quality of his or her actions and the integrity of his or her intent." Boy, are we blessed at ICHS with amazing leaders who not only lead by example, but support and guide our entire community daily. It's wonderful to know that during this hectic time in education, that the IC family is working together to keep us safe and to keep the Blue Wolf experience special for our students. As always, Dr. Sonalise Morel-Baker, Mrs. Dorothy Laverty, Ms. Nicole Minio, and Ms. Rebecca Manzano are available for questions via telephone or email. Please visit our website for all contact information. Never hesitate to reach out to any of us with questions, concerns, and especially to share all of the positive things that you and your daughter experience on a regular basis here at IC. We at ICHS are both pleased and privileged to share our teaching with your daughters in all content areas. We cherish our time with them, and we continue to use each moment to assist them to grow and blossom into the wonderful young ladies that God has destined them to be. May our time together, whether it be remote or in person, be exciting, be innovative, be creative, be captivating, and most importantly, be an experience. Thank you for entrusting them to our care. Know that we will do our very best to build on what you have already imprinted in their minds, in their hearts, and in their souls. Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, take it away, teachers. First up, I would love to introduce the fabulous Miss Elizabeth Medrano.
It happens all the time. Thank you. I'm not in class, so that's good. Okay, so my name is Elizabeth, and I'm teaching Spanish 1, and Spanish 2 this semester. So, all the girls are wonderful. All the girls are wonderful, and they do as much as we ask them to do. Yes, so these are challenging times for us, and we have to reinvent the way we teach them because everything is new for us. So getting in the Zoom and do this and do that, so we have to change all our ways of evaluating and doing the things. The main thing that we're doing in person and remote not remote person, but remote class. Remote person can be anywhere, but remote class is that we keep them engaged and they are participating the whole time. So in that way, they learn how to write, to read, to listen, and to speak. And in my class, I can only speak for myself. All the girls are participating the whole time because I take their life experiences and I put them in the context of the class. So I have no problems teaching them. And sometimes I'm trying to engage them more. But for us, every day is a challenge. So I have no problem. And anytime we have problems with the technology, because we do all the time, Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi, and everything else, and we go in, we go out, then Mr. Wafa is there to help us. Yes, so thank you to Mr. Wafa. Mr. Wada, Mr. Wi-Fi and Mr. Wada. Mr. Wada, thank you for helping us all the time. Now, so if you have any questions or any suggestions or any problems, you can reach me mostly to the computer these days because I'm in the computer the whole time. And I will get back to you immediately and we take care of whatever your issue is. Yes, now a little bit of fun is always nice. Yes, don't laugh too much because you can get intoxicated. So I'm going to just leave all the questions to you when you get in touch with me.
Thank you, Mrs. Medrano, so very much. We know that the girls are always having so much fun in your class, and that's so very important on a daily basis. Next up, we have Mrs. Marie Hammond.
Coucou. Good evening. Bonsoir. Buenas tardes. Oh, thank you, Miss Medrano. You just made me laugh. I'm just so happy. You were before me. Now I'm all relaxed.
Yeah, no extra charge.
So, my name is Miss Hammond, and I'm the language teacher. This semester, I'm teaching French 1, French 2, and Spanish 3. So everything is going wonderfully. The girls having fun. I have fun. I just have to find different little ways to teach them since now I cannot make them memorize anything and then have a test because they're at home and I don't know what they're doing, so they can, look around them to have the answers. So my new trick is first, I make them listen. Then I make them repeat everything. When I see that they're all able to talk, I make them read in Spanish and then to write in Spanish. I use all the senses. And then at the end, everything we do, I make them do a PowerPoint. Like that, they also have a visual aid. So it seems like it's working really good. They're all very proud of the PowerPoints. They're very engaged. We're having a lot of fun. And so French 1 is the basic. French or Spanish 1 is always the same. The verbs, the vocabulary, to introduce themselves, the colors, the numbers, how to conjugate. French or Spanish 2 is everything you need to know to go to a trip to a country where they speak French, how to buy clothes, food, go to a restaurant, all you need. And Spanish 3, we review 1 and 2, and they teach new vocabulary, and they go a little deep into the grammar and to talk about music, art, faith, health, technology, all the things we use every day. We also are very lucky to be able to use Rosetta Stone. So in all the grades, the girls are using Rosetta Stone to help them practice at home, and we have it for free. Thank you, thank you, thank you, school. So there you go. I'm so happy to be working with you girls. We're having lots of fun. I hope they have too. If you have any question, just contact me. Adios. Au revoir.
Thank you, Ms. Hammond. As you guys can see, it is a blast to be in any world language class at Immaculate Conception High School. Next up, we have Mr. Kevin Hughes, one of our history teachers.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to thank you all for your time and your trust in all of us. As I pull up my presentation, I also want to echo Mr. Azzolino. These are unprecedented times. So I want to give your daughters and also you a lot of credit. This is, we're going through things that are extremely difficult. And I know that a lot of you are working from home. A lot of you are worried about your children. But as you could tell, a lot of your daughter's teachers and administrators just truly care about your daughters. So obviously, I'm your history teacher at Immaculate Conception. And this semester, I'm teaching both US 1 and also US 2, 4 sections, actually, 2 honors courses, and then the 2 other courses. And, I always like to give it a little bit about me. Teaching is something I've always been passionate about. I grew up in a family of educators. My father was an administrator. My mother just retired last year as a teacher. My sister's a principal in Bergen County. I'm born and raised here. Absolutely love spending time with my own personal family. My wife, Marissa, and our two children, Stella and Owen. I played a little bit of college football at the University of Pittsburgh and had some, life-altering experiences in that journey, which just made me a better person. And those are the things that I think are important, not only to teach history, but to instill in your daughters, hard work, determination, being willing to ask for help when needed are just all necessary, tools in life to make sure that they're successful. And I love IC. I've been here for 5 years. It's a place, where all of those things are contagious. People are there to help these girls. We know when one of the girls is down or out, and we also know when they're really doing well. And it's a community that takes care of each other. So these are the books. The girls have them. No, I don't want to spend too much of your time going over them. But, US 1. I'm not gonna read through all of those things. They're all in the syllabi of all of your daughters that you signed and turned in. But I want to just focus on a few things that we're certainly going through a time period where there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of disarray, and there's a lot of foundational things that have been around since the beginning of our country that are being questioned today. And at the end of the day, I constantly tell the girls that it's not my job to tell my perception. It's not my job to spew my views. It's my job to tell both sides of everything. That way the girls can garnish and develop their own views and their own experiences and come out of high school with some background information and some ideas and reasons as to why things are happening today. And that's, one of the main goals. So we do a lot of that in US 1, and then also a lot of that in US 2. US 2, we're talking about industrialization, the massive immigration to our country. No matter what you believe, I constantly tell the girls that not too many people in our community are 100% Native American. So at some point, our families came from somewhere else, which makes us all more similar than not. And it's important to understand that concept. History is not really on the SATs, and I know that SATs are kind of a different monster these days, if you will. But it's important to be able to read something, comprehend something, and then be able to write about it. So those are some of the things that we work on in my class. And your daughters will tell you that, I can easily go off on tangents, but they're not, in my opinion, they're not bad, because what I'm doing is I'm teaching your daughters how to simply just be a good person. And I know that my colleagues do the same thing in all of their classes. It's important to talk about history, but it's important to include our core values at IC into our content within the classroom, and I think that's truly important. And I know that we do that in our history classes. I'm a big supporter of my blog page. The girls, I'm sure at some point will tell you all about it. Maybe they'll even show you theirs. If not, you can look on my Plus portals. You can look on my Google Classrooms, and you'll see the blog page there. And you can click on it, click on your daughter's name, and you get samples and see a little bit about what she's writing about. It's a good way to get to know your daughter and talk to her a little more about something with school. Contact information, all this is in the syllabus that you just signed. School phone number, extension 209. My email is everywhere, khughes@ichslodi.org. The girls know that they can always come to me for extra help. Obviously, when we're virtual and we're home, it's a little crazy here with the 2 little kids at home. And my wife is a guidance counselor in another school, and we're doing the best that we can, but we're always here for your daughters. And I'm always here for your daughters. Extra help, 7:45 in the morning until the homeroom bell, after school until 2:45. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I hope you all stay safe, and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Thank you so much for everything you do. I personally love Mr. Hughes's Weebly page, because if you go to his Weebly page, it's so easy to get to every single student in our entire school, because he's so organized, and all it is a click of a button and you're there. So if you didn't have a chance to write down Mr. Hughes's Weebly blog page, we have it on our website, and it is also on his Google Classroom. And this presentation will also be able to be replayed later. So thank you, Mr. Hughes, for all that you do. And next up, we would like to welcome Mrs. Priscilla Vallecillo.
All right, thank you, Ms. Koval. Good evening, everyone. Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to share my screen. All right, and we are ready to roll. All right, awesome. All right, as I mentioned, good evening, everyone. Nice for everyone to join us. My name is, of course, Mrs. Priscilla Vallecillo. I am one of the science teachers here at Immaculate Conception High School. I am as well the National Honor Society advisor. As well, you see here my room number, my email, and as well my phone number with my extension. At the end of the PowerPoint slide, this information is also going to be available for anyone. And as well, my students all have this information and so forth. So a little bit about myself. I began my career at Immaculate Conception High School in 2017, and it has been an awesome experience. Before coming into Immaculate Conception High School, I actually graduated from Montclair State University with, of course, my bachelor's in biology. Yes, biology to me is life and everything with the sciences. Totally, absolutely love it. And every time I meet all of my students, I always try to bring that little sparks of science and that interest to them. And hey, give them all the tools and let them choose if maybe that's a field that they want to eventually pursue, or any questions that they might have. So that's a little bit about myself. And before we continue, I always love to talk a little bit about my pups, Mr. Romeo and Miss Juliet. Always tell this to my students, and I always get the awes. So a little bit about Romeo. He's going to be 15 years old this year, this 2021. And Juliet is going to be 9 years old. And they are, of course, 2 different breeds. They definitely have a few years apart, but they are, of course, the babies of the house, and they love to run around. They're playful, they're joyful, and definitely some of my students, since we've been remote, they've definitely seen a little bits and pieces of them. And of course, why do I love ICHS? So at Immaculate Conception High School, yes, I've been here now for about 5 years. I constantly learn from many students, and most of them have, for almost every day, have made my day. And of course, it is a very tight-knit community that has been present since the first day that I started. It's very nice to see how the students all get along, how they are, of course, it's a sisterhood. And it's so great to be part of that sisterhood. And as well as we have that family, that community of like the students, we also have that with the administration, with the staff. We always, of course, we preach of what we say, right? So we definitely always want to teach them that. So it's awesome. And that's pretty much these pictures with, of course, the students. And just as you see them happy and content, that's pretty much how it is every day in the hallways with them. And even as their teachers, it's, as I mentioned, they make my day. The courses that I currently teach in this upcoming semester is anatomy and physiology and biology. So a little bit about anatomy. So anatomy is, of course, an elective course for juniors and seniors. So any juniors and any seniors that, of course, chooses as their elective, they most certainly can. And now what do we learn? we learn a little bit about cells, skin, bones, muscle, organs. So yeah, we're talking a little bit about biology, but now we go a little bit more in depth about the human body and how it's structured and how it functions. So just as a little information, students were of course already given a class syllabus, lab contract. They were given textbooks and ebooks, as well as an access code to get into Pearson MyLab, which is where we pretty much do a lot of online learning. Which is great for SAT and ACT prep. And it's awesome because it kind of gets them started into the college courses, especially right now that we are all remote. It makes them definitely all hands-on, even with the virtual labs and everything that we have been working with is dealing if it's, in class setting or if we're remote. So we have that hybrid going on. We also do dissections. Now, given the circumstances, I know the dissections are somewhat limited, but of course, it doesn't stop us because we definitely have the capability for one student to pretty much be working on one particular organism, or if not, they're not present, we have the remote or the virtual one. So it's pretty extremely fun. I know some students usually get kind of like grossed out and they're kind of like, gross, we don't want to do that, but they usually warm up to it, and then we have a really nice time. Now, with, of course, our anatomy and physiology class this semester, I usually always do it for every year. I usually tell my students, pretty much 3 classes in, draw something that interests you, something that you can put in terms of anatomy and physiology. Maybe an organ system. So these 2 students, of course, one student drew here a heart. She did a very nice job here drawing the heart and, of course, labeling the different parts of the heart. She even put a little bit of facts. Over here, we're dealing with, of course, the respiratory system. Over here, we're dealing with the cardiovascular system. Now, the respiratory system is, of course, also labeled with all the parts that, of course, deals with the respiratory system. So that's a little bit with the anatomy and physiology aspect of this course. The next course I am teaching this semester is biology. Now, biology is a required science course, usually taken by incoming 9th grade students. Now, biology is usually the topic in which we study the living world, right? It's nature, everything that's living, everything that has cells, from plants to animals. So yes, we talk a little bit about DNA, genetics. We talk a little bit about, microorganisms like bacteria, viruses. So this is a little bit on, of course, the biology concepts, some topics. Same as anatomy, students were given, of course, a class syllabus. They were given a lab contract. They were given, of course, a textbook. And currently we are, of course, going to put together their ebook. We're just finalizing that part, but we are going to get their ebook. And it is, of course, a very nice ebook with virtual labs incorporated into them. And it's a pretty cool setup of how they can actually log on and do actually some of the worksheets online. So it's pretty neat. We also, of course, incorporate virtual labs. Tomorrow, they actually will be having their first virtual lab with microscopes, so they can actually see microscopes and slides virtually through the computer. Now, all of these platforms that they have, it's very nicely used because, yes, we can definitely use that. And even in how the reading is based, it's mostly seen in SAT, and of course, any college courses. So it gets them in that vision of how they're going to see these questions when they are asked. So that's why I also like using these particular platforms. Lab work, yes, they do lab experiments. They do some dissections. We definitely do case studies. So, and there's definitely a lot of group work fun. Just this week, I had them working in group works or group, maybe like for 3 to 4 times during the week, if we're talking about the scientific methods, the steps, if they're talking about the characteristics of living things. So they're definitely constantly working in groups, chatting, and of course, learning from each other along the way. Now, with, of course, biology, just like I have all my science classes, this is from 2 students that they primarily did the same idea, something related to biology. They have to tell me they have to draw something and then talk to me a little bit about it. So this student, of course, drew a tree, and in the tree, she incorporated the DNA double helix strand. And the way she described it was that the DNA is, of course, anything DNA is incorporated with living things, just like a tree is. Over here, the student drew, of course, the heart of the organ, which is a heart, and around it, of course, flowers to, of course, give it life because it is a living thing. So this is, of course, just some of the few little ideas that we can incorporate art and, of course, teaching lessons, and most definitely just dissections and just in general, everything with living things. Now, just to sum up everything, I do want to just have you keep a few things in mind. As I mentioned before, what the students were given, syllabus, lab contract, as well as the ebooks. For the anatomy students, they most definitely have the MyLab Pearson that they already set up, and they already have, of course, had homework. Now, all of these different platforms, they're definitely great for SAT, ACT, prep work, and of course, we definitely love to do dissections, which is all hands-on activities. Last but not least, if you happen to have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Here is my email, my phone number, of course, my extension. I also offer extra help available for your daughter, or if you need to ever reach me. I am available to students every day after school from 2:20 to 3 p.m. I can, of course, meet with the student or meet with the parent through Google Meet or in person. I'm in room 212. And I also like to remind parents and, of course, students that to please check the post portal for grades or general information about the class. It is updated, and I hope if you have any questions on anything that you reach me, or you can definitely email me. I want to thank you so much for your time, and I hope that you all have a wonderful evening, and I hope you have a nice night.
Thank you, Mrs. V. Thank you for sharing all of your students' artwork. It's so very cool to see them drawing and getting really involved in a creative way in your science courses. I always love to pop into the Google Classrooms because I never know what I'm going to see. So very exciting. Next up, we have Sister Jen, another one of our science teachers.
Hello, I'm Sister Genevieve. I'm a sister of St. Joseph. I live here in North Arlington, and I'm in the convent dining room right now. I have been at ICHS for 10 years. I've taught for a few years before that too. The gray hairs can tell the story. This semester, I am teaching chemistry, physics, and forensic science. For many of you parents, I have met you before because I have taught all of the sophomores in chemistry in the past. So the students that have now elected to take physics and forensic science, they kind of know how it goes. We start every day with a prayer, and you'd be amazed the students participate in what they want to pray for. They're conscious of the world around them, not just so I do well in this test, but for the homeless, the people that are hungry. It's just a wonderful way to begin our day. We also do IXL, which is an individualized math program that we use every single day to help improve the SAT, ACT scores. Now, what I want, and I tell them, I don't always get what I want, but what I want is the class to be interesting and fun. But I don't always get what I want, but I try. I tell them if it's going to be interesting and fun, they have to help and participate. I ask them to participate, and I tell them, when you have something to say, let's make it interesting, because I can be boring all by myself. And so it gives them a laugh. I like a few laughs. I like a few jokes and a few smiles, especially at this time of the year. Now, many of our students may not choose a career in science, although I wish they would all choose a career, but anyhow. So why should the students take so many courses in the sciences? Well, for me, the science courses are simply a pathway to prepare for college and for life. Because in these classes, we learn to do more than study facts. We learn to learn critical thinking, reasoning skills, how to analyze data. We learn to speak and cooperate and apply what we're learning to current events. Now, it might surprise you, but maybe you think our current event should be some big grand project. But for those who don't have students in chemistry right now, this week, they took a field trip at home down to their kitchen to examine the refrigerator to see where the heat came out. They were amazed. When we get back to school, we'll be doing some labs and activities. So someday, if your daughter comes home from chemistry and you say, "What did you do today?" she might say, "We watched ice melt." And they did. But it goes along with graphing and communication. Basically, I try to cover the foundations that they need to build. Now, I'll tell you a little secret. So put your good ear to the mic. This is a secret. I don't tell this to everybody. But on this block scheduling, I cannot cover 30 chapters. Well, I could cover it, but that doesn't mean they're getting it. So when I first started doing the block scheduling, I had to come to terms with that. And I decided, who decided that we should do 30 chapters? A textbook company? So instead of covering chapter after chapter and having them sitting there smiling at me, we do fewer chapters and we take it more in depth. Last semester, when we were learning about crystals, and we'll do it again, they actually made 3D models at home and made mobiles with their crystals. We grew some crystals too. So I'm looking to build the foundation on which they can build. Now, their participation and cooperation is very important. Sometimes I tell a few funny stories about me to get the point across. I tell them, if you are going to sit in this class and simply smile at me while I teach, if you are not going to ask a question or participate, this is not a spectator sport. You have to participate. And I tell them, just to get the point across, that when I was much younger, I went to a doctor because I was sick. And every question the doctor asked, I lied about. They go, "Oh, I lied. I denied every symptom." And I say to them, why did I do that? Did it help me? No. I had to go home and call the doctor back again. I said, so same for you. If you're going to sit and smile at me while I teach some math or physics concept, and you really are not following me, it's like me going to the doctor and lying. You can't just smile and nod. Now, one day last week, a student actually put that thought into action. In physics class, we were doing a review of some math that they'd learned it, but it was a review. And they all sat and smiled at me. So I thought they were getting it, of course, right? And at the end of class, one brave young lady put her hand up and she said, "Sister, I didn't get it." Good. Not good that you didn't get it, but good that you spoke up. So then the next day, having thought about it the night before, I could rearrange and find more ways to say the same thing. And so the next day I praised her, saying it was great that you could say I didn't get it. You have to be a little bit brave. I know people don't like to ask questions. They don't like to admit weakness. I didn't like telling the doctor I was sick either, but it didn't help me. And so I try to get across to them. It'll help them better if they can speak. We're trying to relate forensic science these days to their world. Now, I know they're not in the world of big crime, but their assignment for this week, we just have one chapter done, by the way. Their assignment for this week was to look at some detective CSI shows on TV and find 5 examples in the show that we covered in the first chapter this week. I said, you don't have to watch the whole show. So today, some started to share. I saw this lab. I saw that lab. I saw the and they could use the words, trying to relate the written text to what they're looking at on television. Now, for those parents who have students in forensic science, we use all fake bodily fluids. I have fake blood, I have fake urine, I have fake vomit, it's all fake. So you never have to worry about our touching anything, okay? All right. So if you have any questions, if I can help you or your daughter in any way, you can contact me by email, by phone, by Google Classroom if you like. Now, I am available to help girls after school, but I say to them, if you're sitting there and you're not, and you have a question, oh, please, for heaven's sake, ask it. Don't wait till after school next Tuesday. Ask me today. And so I'll help not only you, but the others in the class too. This is not a spectator sport. They have to talk and share and have a laugh with me. Now, we couldn't do it very well from home because I was embarrassed to do it in front of the nuns here. But next week, we're going to learn my element dance when we get back to school. And I think they were embarrassed to dance at their house too. I said, I don't know if I can do it in front of the nuns. But next week, we're going to dance. So ask them how the dancing went. Okay? Okay, thank you so much. And feel free to contact me if you like. Good night.
Thank you, Sister Jen. At this time, everyone, just like we tell our girls, it's important when you're behind a computer to stand up, to stretch, to take a break, to go to the bathroom, get a drink. We're going to ask you to do the same right now. So now's your time to take a little quick intermission and do what you have to do, and we will be back in about 5 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a nice break and you were able to get a drink and use the restroom and whatever you needed to do. Right now, we are going to begin to introduce our math department. First up, Mr. Connor Bradiansky.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mr. Connor Bradiansky. I teach Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Geometry, as well as the honors level courses of those classes at IC, for those of you who were not here at the beginning of the year. During the school year, it has been, a learning experience with, switching between virtual and in person, pretty much at the drop of a hat. So we've tried to come up with a couple innovative ways to, keep the kids involved as much as possible. You feel at times that when you're teaching virtually that the kids aren't there. So I've been trying to make it feel more like an in-classroom experience. So I'm just going to give you guys a little example of what life is like being in my class during virtual learning in 2021. So this hooked up. This is something I just started again over the past 2 weeks since we've been virtual. Previously I was using an online version of a whiteboard, but it was not working great. So now I adapted my HD camera so that they could get a more hands-on or, in classroom kind of view instead of being on the online whiteboard, which sometimes becomes challenging for other students to visualize. So today in my Algebra 2 class, we have been working on synthetic division, which everyone loves. So I'm going to give you guys an example of what we've been doing. So synthetic division is probably something that none of the parents saw in Algebra 2. It's something that has been recently added to the course list for SAT prep related stuff. What synthetic division is they'll give you a polynomial equation like such. A polynomial equation is going to be anything that has an exponent power that is greater than 0, right? And what synthetic division does, it allows us to divide problems like this by linear polynomials or polynomials only raised to the first power. So just like in elementary school, when you guys learned long division, instead of the bar being right side up and the thing you're dividing goes underneath, we flip it upside down and we take the opposite sign of the number inside our linear divisor. We write it right up top here. And then we take our leading coefficient of each term and write them as such. So this looks really weird. The kids don't like it. I've getting emails about it all week. So if your daughter has me for Algebra 2, she's probably complaining to you about this because they're not having fun at all. So believe it or not, this is going to be division. So just like in most long division problems, we drop down our first number and we're going to multiply it by this number we have floating up here in the box, as I like to call it. It's not the box, it's not a box, but we call it a box. And we multiply this number by the number we drop down and write it underneath the number in the second column. And then we add straight down. And we rinse and repeat this process. 2 times 4 is 8, add straight down. 1 plus 8 is 9. 2 times 9, 18, add straight down is 19. So what this technique is used for is this can help you factor any polynomial. So I know everyone remembers factoring, right? Like reverse FOILing. What this does is, so the highest degree on our equation is to the third power. This will drop it down 1 degree. So instead of this being the coefficient of x cubed, it will be of x squared of x and our constant, with this number being our remainder. And you can repeat this process with zeros of this function to get the completely factored version. For me, that's really cool. For regular people and my students, they hate it. But for me, synthetic division is something that is embarrassingly very exciting. Other than doing this technique in my, other than doing this technique in my Algebra 2 class, geometry, which is a very visual type of mathematics, has become something that's pretty cool to do in virtual because there's a lot of interactive types of educational tools that we can use, especially on IXL, which I'm sure everyone in the school is familiar with. So that has become a huge benefit during virtual learning. Other than that, if your students or daughters have been struggling with anything in any of my classes, which if you just saw the problem I did, I'm sure you understand why. They could always reach me via my email Monday through Friday, anytime between 7:30 and 5 p.m. If they ever want to schedule one-on-one tutor time, I'm available during lunch hours always, and after school every day until at least 3 o'clock. If they want to schedule a later time, they just have to email me ahead at least 24 hours ahead of schedule, and I can set up a time that works best for both of us. All right? I hope everyone has a great rest of the evening.
Thank you, Mr. B. Just so you know, us regular people, we think you and your math are cool too. So keep it going and keep making the girls happy and learning so much in your courses. Thanks so much. Next up, we have Mr. Connor Gleason.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Connor Gleason, and I am a mathematics teacher here at Immaculate Conception High School. I'm a mathematics major from Montclair State University, and I've been privileged to work here at ICHS for the past 6 years. One of the reasons I love working here is because it's a tight-knit community. I feel that at schools like ours, teachers can more easily tailor instruction to meet the needs of individual students and are better able to know their students' academic strengths and weaknesses. I've built my teaching philosophy on the basis that every student is capable of learning mathematics. Unfortunately, some students believe that they are not gifted mathematically and that they are unable to learn or understand the subject. I personally believe the opposite, that students can be successful with mathematics. That one thing that helps students succeed is having a teacher who is not just passionate about mathematics, but also passionate about their students' success and understanding of the material. Education is about the desire to learn, not the obligation to learn. The process of learning for the students should be enjoyable, interesting, and helpful. At the same time, I must admit that mathematics is not always easy. However, if presented in the right way, it is not the monster that everybody often perceives it to be. By learning theorems well, working on examples, and illustrating concepts, students can tackle any problem that is thrown their way. This semester, I am teaching new classes which are trigonometry, college algebra, and calculus. Trigonometry is a course that teaches us about the relationships between side lengths and angles of triangles. Some of the topics that we'll be covering in that course are going to be understanding different trigonometric functions within our unit circle, solving triangles, and dealing with analytic trigonometry. College algebra is a course that reviews arithmetic and covers algebraic expressions and equations, their manipulation and use in problem solving, word problems, and an introduction to inequalities, absolute values, and graphing. And our calculus course is broken down into two different unique parts. Differential calculus, which is used to find the rates of change of a variable compared to another variable, and integral calculus, which is the process of calculating the area underneath the graph of a function. Calculus is used frequently in many different subject areas, such as physics, astronomy, biology, engineering, economics, medicine, and even sociology. And a mathematic history fact, back in 1655, after Sir Isaac Newton graduated from university, the city of London actually went out on a quarantine due to the Great Plague. And during Isaac Newton's quarantine period, he started working on something that would later be his contribution to what calculus is, which is more so that first part of calculus that we are getting into in our textbooks. I'm available after school and during lunch for students if they happen to have any questions. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can feel free to contact me at cgleason@ichlodi.org. I hope you guys have a wonderful night and a good second semester.
Thank you, Mr. Gleason. As always, we love hearing about you and your love for math. Next up, we have Mrs. Arlene Skolarski, one of our religion teachers.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Arlene Skolarski, and I am teaching. The sophomores already had me for freshman year, so they already know what I am expecting out of them. But for the girls who are new and the parents who are new, I'm teaching religion too, and I get the blessing of teaching religion for this semester. For religion too, we are learning about Jesus's mission and ministry, how the prophecies of the Old Testament came to fruition in the New Testament with Jesus being born, his ministry, his teachings, the prophecies that he was able to show in his life. We are learning about our core values. We are learning about blogging. We are blogging with the Weebly. Okay, I already had the girls in the senior class and the girls in the sophomore class do their first blog. With their blogging, they are engaging in what we call our capstone projects.
They are taking all of their blogging from freshman all the way to senior year, and they will put together a video of all the things that they've experienced. They will incorporate their core value, our core values: transformation, respect for human dignity, compassion, justice, and peace. They will incorporate all of those values into their blogs, and they're also incorporating them into their service papers. With the freshmen, sophomore, and juniors, we are doing our PowerPoints at the end of their semester. The seniors will do a reflection blog, a reflection paper, and then they will do their capstone project. For, again, going back to the sophomores, they're learning about mission and ministry. They're learning about Jesus's life. They will also learn in the second semester the sacraments, how Jesus instituted them, what they are encompassing. We will learn about them in more of a detailed format that they knew before. So they will have a good respect for the sacraments that Jesus instituted while he was here on earth, and how important it is for the church to continue to have those sacraments. Again, we pray in class. We pray every day. The girls are invited to give their petitions if they choose to. And sometimes they're silent in their petitions. So we offer them up to God for their families and for whatever it is they need to pray for. For the seniors, I am teaching this semester world religions, and they're learning about all the different religions encompassing with their faith, how they view other people's faith in light of their own, and how they are to interact with people of different faiths, and how they are to respect people of different faiths. We're learning next semester, we will learn about Christian lifestyles, and how they will learn about being single, being married, possibly pursuing a religious vocation, and what all that means. Again, the girls will be working towards, especially the seniors will be working towards their capstone projects. I have them listening to contemporary Christian music. I've been doing that for years now. I'm here about 18 years. They're doing their contemporary, when they listen to the contemporary Christian music, sometimes we have some technical issues and the music gets really, really slow. So sometimes we listen to it, sometimes we don't. However, what we do is I put a Jamboard up on our computer, and the girls are able, when they read their sections, they're asked to put something down that they didn't know before. And they usually fill up the entire page. Sometimes we go into a different page in order for them to continue to put together what they did not know. And that's really exciting to do, because I know that they're reading and I know that they are engaged in the class. I can be reached for extra help either in the morning before school. I'm usually in at 7 o'clock, or after school at 2:20. They can reach me at 973-773-2400, extension 307. I can be made, if you send me an email, I can meet with you or your daughters on Google Meet whenever they need me to log in. So again, thank you so much for trusting us with your daughters. God bless you and have a really great evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Sklarski. Next up, we have Mr. Tim Murphy.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tim Murphy. I teach the juniors and the seniors religion. If you've been listening to Mrs. Sklarski, some of the things we do exactly the same. Some of the things we do very differently. And we think this is great for the girls because they get to meet different people and get different perspectives on the same subjects, right? And what we start with the juniors is church history. This quarter, we're focusing on church history and the development of the church. And one of the things that I try to point out, and the girls pick up right away, is that one of the major miracles of the church is that we're still here, because we've been trying to destroy it from inside and out for the past 2,000 years. And the Holy Spirit has managed to keep us going right up until today. And I think that church history for the girls is very reassuring. I know I've heard some people say, well, we talk about all the problems in the church over the last 2,000 years. But the way I like to approach it is that we've been having problems for 2,000 years, and the church is still here, and we still have the saints, and we still have all of the teachings of the church to guide us through all these problems, and none of them are new. All the problems are basically the same things that we've seen for 2,000 years, and we're still here. And one of the things that I do is with the girls in the junior year, we read together and discuss the first of Pope Benedict XVI's encyclicals. Now, the reason I chose Pope Benedict XVI is that his first two encyclicals were on the theological virtues of faith, hope, and love. And his first is Deus Caritas Est, which is a quote from the letter of John, the first letter of John, and it says, God is love. And what he does is he looks at human love, all the things that we call love, and he boils them down, and he says, okay, we're going to focus on the love between a man and a woman, and how does that grow and mature into God's love? How does that take us from infatuation, sexual attraction, and move us as we grow in that relationship into selflessness, from it's all about me and what you can give to me, right? As simple a thing as I really feel good when you're around. Well, that's actually self-centered, right? It's not bad about it, but it's self-centered. It's not about you, it's about me, right? And then we move into I start to care about you. And now I'm moving toward a selflessness, all right? And it's very important that we see that progression, that the students see how the love that they talk about, with their boyfriends or their parents or their friends, okay, can grow into the love of God, the total selflessness that we're called to. Okay, doing that in a church history course really works, because many of the things that Pope Benedict refers to in his encyclical are the things that we're studying in the history of the church. The fathers of the church, the apologists, the saints, and he uses saints from the 2nd century right up to the 19th century and the 20th century. So it shows the girls that this church is the same church that they know, but here is how church teaching develops, how it is brought to the world. And most of us have this idea that the church's teaching is something that, a bunch of 80-year-old men in the Vatican sit around a table trying to make life hard for the rest of us. All right. This is the way that church teaching really develops with the encyclicals. Okay. And they learn about the encyclicals and the teachings of the ecumenical councils, and we go right up till today. Right now, that's not easy. That's 2,000 years of history in one quarter, but we make it. Right. Then next quarter with the juniors, we'll be doing a morality course. And morality takes all of that they have learned from Pope Benedict's encyclical and applies it to their everyday lives. How do we love? How do we take that theory and put it into practice? With the seniors, it's somewhat different. With the seniors, we are working on two different topics. One, which we'll do in the fourth quarter, is Christian lifestyle, vocation. Okay. Right now, we're doing a comparative religions course. Okay. And we're looking at the other major religions of the world to get an understanding of the similarities and the differences. That's why it's a comparative religion. Okay, we are looking at what's the same and what's different. And the bishops have told us that this is a really good way to learn more about your own faith, because it brings up questions that we never would have thought of. We never would have considered if we didn't see that somebody else is doing it really different. And what I've found over the years is that most of us, myself included, unless someone tells us about these other religions, we really think, whether we intellectually we accept it or not, we really think that everybody is a Christian. They may call themselves something else, but they're really Christian. Is the gut level reaction to other religions. And it's fascinating to see the girls' minds open to these very different ways of worshiping God, or even just setting a lifestyle. And at the same time, because I love Pope Benedict XVI's encyclicals, we are doing his second encyclical, okay, which is Spe Salvi. We are saved by faith. Okay, and what he shows there is that hope and faith in biblical terminology are pretty much interchangeable, because hope is the substance of our faith. We believe in Jesus Christ and we hope in Jesus Christ. And he gets really detailed, and the girls have to really work. They really have to focus to understand what he is saying, because we're talking about the number one scripture scholar of the 20th century writing an encyclical about biblical faith and hope. And what I tell the girls is, this is going to be tough sledding. This is going to be difficult. This is why I read it with them, literally. They're reading it, I'm reading it aloud as they're reading it silently. And then afterwards, we discuss it. What did you get out of it? Okay, were you totally confused, or did you actually learn something today? Okay, and we have some fun with that, because a lot of times it's like, I didn't get a thing. I don't know what he's talking about. And what I tell them then is, when you get past courses 101 in college, you're going to be reading things that are just as difficult. And you need to learn to focus. You may have to read one paragraph at a time and then go back and read it again to figure out what the guy said. Right? And if you can do it now, you'll be able to do it a lot more easily in college courses, where there's not going to be somebody reading it with you and putting the emphasis in the right place, and maybe changing the punctuation because it makes things more difficult, that kind of thing. All right. And also, I try to help them with the vocabulary because Pope Benedict XVI's vocabulary is well beyond mine. So I'm fairly certain that a lot of the vocabulary, not a lot, that some of the vocabulary is well beyond a high school student, right? So I help them with that. And then in the next quarter, we will be dealing with vocations. What lifestyle within the church are you going to choose? Right now, they're living the single lifestyle. So I put most of my emphasis on that. What is it to be a single Christian, and specifically a single Catholic, in the world that we are living in today? Not 100 years ago, not 50 years ago, not 60 years ago when I was in high school, but today. Okay. And we talk about the sacraments, which they have done in freshman and sophomore year with Mrs. Sklarski. So they know the theology of the sacraments, and now we talk about them as sacraments of vocation. Baptism and confirmation, if you are single, matrimony, if you're married. Okay, what is the consecrated life? It's still baptism and confirmation, but it is the focus on the evangelical virtues of poverty, chastity, and obedience. And why are those gifts not burdens, like most people think? Okay, and then we talk about the vocation of holy orders, okay, because our students are going to be dealing with priests, deacons, and bishops for the rest of their lives. And they need to know what that's all about. All right. Those of you who are in my age group, the few of you that are left, you remember when the priest was on a pedestal. He could do no wrong. Okay. Those days are gone, but we still need to understand what it is to live as a member of the church, as an ordained member of the church. And that's what we do. Now, we spend 90% of our time on the single life and marriage because that's where most of the girls will end up. And then we do some on the consecrated life, in other words, being in a religious order, what that's like, what it's all about, right? And then we spend a little bit of time on the ordained life, again, because they're going to be dealing with the ordained for the rest of their lives. And that's about what we do. I know it's not much, okay? And it's not really a challenge to get through it, but we do it. And I can say with absolute candor that I absolutely love dealing with your daughters. They are absolutely marvelous young people. I have always enjoyed teaching. I have never enjoyed teaching like I do in Immaculate Conception. The students are the nicest, most Christian girls I have ever dealt with. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy, and our girls definitely love learning from you. You have so much knowledge to give, and we definitely appreciate it every single day. So thank you. Next up, we have Ms. Tara Connor, one of our English teachers.
Hi, everyone. For those of you who don't know me or are new to me because your daughters are taking my class, my name is Tara Connor. And to redeem myself, I'm going to attempt, yet again, round 2, a PowerPoint presentation, super quick. Just bear with me. Hopefully someone just lets me know that it's shown. Okay, so just a little bit about me and my background. I studied English and secondary education at Muhlenberg College. I am actually currently enrolled in graduate school studying educational leadership. I decided mid-quarantine that I wanted to go back to school. I felt like it was the perfect opportunity. So if anything positive came out of quarantine, I guess it was my decision to go to grad school. I love being in school with the girls because I would love to be a motivator, show them that you can work and go back to school. So that was definitely a decision that I thought a lot about, but I also wanted to definitely be a role model for them. This is my third year at IC and fifth year teaching in general. Before here, I was teaching middle school and knew that I wanted to teach older, go to high school and relive those experiences through my students. So that's where I kind of found IC. And my junior English teacher is the reason why I decided to teach. And just a couple of photos to describe who I am. I love photography, the Yankees, and most certainly my family. So that's just a picture of them. A couple of courses that I teach at IC. Currently this semester, I teach a second round of English Honors 4. We are covering everything from scholarship opportunities, writing scholarship essays and applications, to Gatsby, and most certainly a play later on in the semester, and possibly even an independent read if we get to it. I also continue to teach English 2 and English 2 Honors. Those girls are amazing. They are working so hard in the novel studies that we're doing, and their writing, I know that that has been across the board something that the girls have vocally said that they want to work on. They want to work on comprehension and writing, and I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that that happens. I just finished up journalism. The girls, for their midterm, I'm not sure if any of you saw it, but they directed, edited, filmed a mini Blue Wolf for a Day video. I have to say they hit it out of the park. I'm not biased or anything. Currently, I'm now teaching communications with the amazing seniors. They already, one chapter in, have gone above and beyond expectations. I think communications is so important. I know that my fellow faculty members and teachers will definitely agree that they can learn and benefit from communications class so much. And this year, I'm so excited that we get to offer literature and film as an online course. I currently have about a dozen students, and they are super excited just to read and watch and write about books that, for the most part, they've never thought about reading. Right now, we're actually reading Alice in Wonderland, everyone's childhood classic, and already the girls have taken an interest to the novel versus the film adaptation. Again, just things that I cover throughout my courses: further reading, writing, speaking, listening, vocabulary, and critical thinking skills, all things I know that will help them in their futures. I think that's so important, whether they go to college or use them even outside and into the future post-college. It's definitely things that are so necessary. Throughout my courses, we use Weebly as blog posts, IXL. I'm sure everyone loves IXL. The girls were assigned during summer reading IXL, so I definitely still incorporate that into the classroom. And most recently, I added Goodreads as an opportunity for the girls to push themselves to read. Goodreads is a website and app, and I've had the girls, friend each other on Goodreads and follow each other's tracking of books that they're reading inside and outside of class. Just a little bit about what I do in and around IC. I do run the literary magazine and Pause and Print. The girls, I will frequently ask them to give me some of their work throughout the semester or quarter, depending on what they're proud of, whether it's in my class or outside of my class. The girls last year, towards the end of the year, we started Pause and Print, which is the newspaper portion of literary magazine, and journalism definitely pushed themselves out of their comfort zone and got to know different new faces around IC. One of the pictures there is one of our freshman faces, and one of the girls towards the beginning of the semester for journalism interviewed and just got to know them on a more personal level. So I love the fact that the girls, even though they're seniors, they like to, reach out to the underclassmen. I am a student council advisor, the National English Honor Society advisor, and the yearbook advisor. I would love to use this time as just a friendly reminder. I know parents and the seniors already got a couple of emails from you today, but yearbook ads are due this Sunday, February 7th, and the senior portrait selection was extended to this Sunday as well. If any parents ever have any questions about that, they can absolutely shoot me an email and I will help the best I can. If anyone has any questions outside of the yearbook, anything in general, my door is always open. My email is tconnor@ichslodi.org. I'm going to stop sharing. If your girls ever have questions or interested in taking a class, especially the online class, I hope to have it continue running into next school year. Please have them reach out to me. I would love recommendations of things if they're interested in reading. And I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Connor. As you all can see, Ms. Connor does have a lot of other responsibilities around the school other than being our English teacher. And I am honored and privileged to be your mentor, Ms. Connor. So I'm so happy that the pandemic convinced you to go back to school and go to grad school and further your education in academic leadership. So kudos to you. Next up, I would love to introduce Mr. Jeffrey Rodriguez, who in the beginning of the year was the new man on campus, and now he's definitely part of the family. I feel like I've known him for so long, and I know the girls feel the exact same way. So here we go, Mr. Rodriguez.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Rodriguez. I am English teacher at Immaculate, and I definitely paid Ms. Koval to give me that great introduction there. So I'll Venmo you later, right, Ms. Koval? I am Ms. Connor, Tara Connor's sidekick. I am like her little Batman, okay? And her Robin to her Batman, apologies. And I will say that teaching your daughters is an absolute pleasure. It's an honor, honestly, and it just goes off and breeds off of what the administrators bring every day to school, for starting with Mr. Aslino, Ms. Catrona, Ms. Koval, they preach, family, loving one another, and especially, empowering these women. So we definitely do that in our classes. We empower our women our young ladies to have a voice. We always start our classes off with a do now, where they start to share. Sometimes we tend to talk about touchy subjects. And I think that that's what you get the most out of things, especially in college. Those really touchy subjects is what really gets class discussion going. And I think that it's so crucial just for them to learn going forward, especially through colleges, because that's what's going to happen once they leave this little safe haven of ICHS, right? Couple courses that I teach, obviously year round, I'm still with the freshmen, regular and honors, as well as the juniors, regular and honors as well. We're finishing up the Crucible. We just finished the Crucible book for our junior class. Now we're going to get into a really extensive course of SAT prep, as well as from there, we're going to read another novel. And then in the tail end, we're going to get them working on resumes, also letting them write a couple rough drafts for their college essays as well. It's all in preparation so that their senior year comes and it's not like, boom, a car accident. They have no idea where to do or where to start. We want to lead them into that path. As well as the new course that I teach now is creative writing. This is a course that I'm absolutely in love with because it helps our girls, first of all, write better. They let them brainstorm, think, and be a voice for themselves, as well as, we do little fun things. We just finished doing we're working on right now, they're working on their presentation, but we did a personality trait, kind of like a questionnaire / survey. And with this, they were to do research, okay, you answer about like 50 questions, and from there, it gives you a trait of what you are as a person, and then from there, it'll give you a list of a bunch of famous people, even people from movies and TV shows. Like I got Morpheus. I thought the only thing that I have similar with Morpheus is a deep, scary voice, but that's about it. And then from there, we kind of, they made their own little research presentations, and we had some fun with it. It's a way for them to, first of all, figure out how they are as a person. Number two, certain things that they never really realized until doing and answering certain questions. Okay. And I thought it was really cool because they're, half of the girls did the research and they're like, wow, like I didn't even know that about myself. And, it's a good way to kind of branch off and kind of be able to write and see what kind of comparisons you have with other people. I truly enjoy teaching the IC. It's probably the best decision I've ever made. I've came from 2 other public schools, and coming here has been an absolute pleasure. Everyone is so helpful. So it's not just the teachers, the administrators are so helpful. You call them whenever you need, and they're there to help you. As simple as going to the bathroom, because as a male teacher in that school, it's rough. There's one bathroom for males, and we got to run all the way downstairs. But I call Mr. Aslino, Ms. Catrona, Ms. Koval, and they're the first ones there to help me out. So I must say, obviously we're adapting to what the new norm is, whether it's COVID situations, any stuff like that, whether we go remote or we're in person. You truly feel an energy in the building when we're in person, especially from a wide range. The girls are so helpful with one another, and their personalities are so bright that it's truly amazing and an honor to be teaching them. I'm always free. They call me like the opposite, or you could say the broken Spanish guy, because I'm always on time. I'm literally, I open the building up with our janitor Murph, and first one here. So whenever you need extra help, I'm always available. I'm always there. I'm here as early as 6:30 in the morning. So whenever you feel like you want to come, your daughters need some extra help, I'm always available, as well as after school. After school, I do coach a couple of sports, so my time is a little tight. But if you let me know ahead of time, if the mornings do not help, I could always arrange to be there after school as well. Our first priority is making sure that the girls understand things that are being taught to them and being able to use that every day going forward. And pretty much that's it. I gotta give you my trademark, my snaps and a point from Ms. Koval, because she wanted one of those, but I gotta give it off to Ms. Koval. Thank you so much for the generous introduction. Cash App or Venmo, I'll send it to you, no problem, all right? So everyone have a lovely night. Pleasure to meet you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Rodriguez, you always make it fun and interesting, walking the halls and being in the classroom at IC. So thank you so much for being you, and that's the most important. Next up, we have Miss Andy Lupica, who teaches health and phys ed.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Andy Lupica. I'm an ICHS graduate, class of 2016. I didn't want to pull up my normal picture that I always do, so I found something that was around that I thought was worth showing. So this is my prom picture with Sister Alexander and my lifelong best friend that I met at IC, Nat. So shout out to them. I just want to find something to show you guys this evening. So ICHS grad in 2016. I went on to go to William Patterson. We're actually just graduated in August with a degree in phys ed and health. I also have an endorsement in driver's ed and first aid, as well as I'm now an American Red Cross instructor. This might be my first year teaching, but I'm definitely not new to the teaching world. I did my student teaching in Patterson. Patterson School 5 is an elementary school. Lakeland Regional, which is a high school in Wanacue, Packamack Elementary in Wayne. And then I finished at Ben Franklin in Ridgewood, which is a middle school, where I got a taste of remote learning back in March when this all began. So here I'm the Health 1 PE 9 teacher, as well as Health 2 and PE 12 teacher. So I just want to go into my educational philosophy. So I truly believe education has the power to change lives. It led me into the teaching profession as my phys ed teacher in 7th grade, as well as my high school phys ed teacher led me into the teaching profession. So definitely want to give students the same opportunity to have this this experience and form strong bonds along the way. So I deliver content tailored to each student needs because I know every student learns different and they're unique. Make sure to do that by providing a positive environment where each student can grow physically, cognitively, emotionally, socially, and mentally. This works by creating an atmosphere filled with positivity and encouragement. I also think it's super important to laugh and make every single day exciting and have fun. Right now, Health 1 and Health 2 are currently learning different ways to promote physical, mental, emotional, and social health, and different ways that their health can be influenced. And my main goal is to ensure that the students make the right decisions and choices when it comes to their health. I think it's more prominent than ever with this pandemic. We can have all the success and riches and everything we want in the world, but without our health, we don't have much. So I take these classes extremely seriously with the students' health in mind. And it's not only about now, but it's with the intent of fostering a lifelong physical activity and wellness. I think another thing I want to mention, being a recent college graduate and as well as an IC alum, it really gives me the unique ability to make connections with the students, as well as advise them through different health decisions, especially during this transition between high school and their next journey. So I think that's extremely important in my classes. Specifically, Health 1, we're laying down the basic foundations of health and wellness. They're learning skills needed to enhance their mental and emotional health in a safe and positive manner, as well as acquiring the basic knowledge of nutrition, risk factors like alcohol, drugs, and tobacco use. Health 2, we're developing skills needing in difficult situations, understanding health prevention and promotion techniques to establish a solid personal health education, and ultimately becoming health literate and making positive and healthy decisions. Health 2 incorporates those very exciting traditional projects of the baby project and wedding project that we will be doing throughout the semester with obviously health protocols in mind. So the second half of this semester, we do head over to phys ed. So this is, we will be following protocol from the New Jersey Department of Education and Governor Murphy. I work very closely with Mrs. Kadersha as she knows the current protocol for sports and overall protocol for the pandemic. So we work closely to make this class as safe as possible, and it ran very smoothly with the sophomores and juniors last semester. So I'm confident we'll have another great phys ed quarter come March. So PE, it's definitely interesting. It's not how I expected my first year of phys ed to go, but I make sure to provide a safe, inclusive environment for all students. I understand not every single student is sport oriented, so it is extremely important to give the students different opportunities to find something that they love to do so that later on in life they are physically active. So it's important for them to grow physically, cognitively, and emotionally in this class. And I make sure to individualize fitness. It's not a one size fits all. It's important to really tailor to every single student. And a lot of this, especially with COVID protocols, includes station work. With the sophomores and juniors in phys ed, we made sure if we ever used equipment, we made sure to wipe it down. If we were using equipment, whether it was a resistance band or a jump rope, there was one per student. And then in between classes, I would make sure to wipe that down with antibacterial to make sure that this class is safe for everyone. And we will see where we are at come March for how this class will run, and everyone will be informed of how it will be going and expectations. I'm here for everyone. I'm here for you. So I have extra help time, mostly after school, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Always available, Google Meet. The best way to reach me is my email. My email is alupica, ALUPICA @ICHSLodi.org. My email is on the school website as well in the directory. So if you ever need to reach out to me for anything, please don't hesitate. Contact me with any questions or concerns. I think that's it for me. I appreciate your time and I look forward to working with your daughters.
Thank you, Ms. Lavica. Again, just like I said with Mr. Rodriguez, I know that you were a new faculty member in September. However, I feel like you have always been part of this family, this faculty family. I know you were more a blue wolf than I was before I came. So thank you for being such a positive light every single day. And thank you for being so innovative, teaching phys ed and health during this pandemic, because it could be very difficult, but you make it seem so easy. I'm looking forward to the spring and when the girls do have phys ed in the second quarter and they're able to get outside and get fresh air and also be active at the same time. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, and I know the girls are too. So thank you, Ms. Lapica, for everything that you do. Next up, we have our amazing and creative and innovative art teacher, Ms. Pancella Schetzel.
Hi everyone, it's so nice to meet you. I'm so looking forward to working with all your daughters. Now, I just would like to give a little intro of myself. My whole life, I've been an artist. I focused on photography for quite some time, and through that, I was able to experience working hands-on with makeup artists, producers, actors, and I've also worked with a food photographer. And so that was pretty exciting. But I also worked with children as well on the side. I worked at the Montclair Art Museum, and I really start to get excited because I really love working with students, with children, because they're our future, and I love art. And so putting two and two together was a blessing, and I have to thank IC for this because I'm literally living my dream. And I'm so happy to be talking to you about my love of art. My class will start with the foundations of all art. As I like to say, artists solve problems. And it's true. I really do believe that. But to start off with, the girls must understand the basics of art, the elements of art, and the principles of design. Now, we spend a lot of time on this because it's how art is created. It's how they create this masterpiece. And they are the building blocks of art, the ingredients. So they're super important to know. And I want the students to be comfortable too with that concept, because then they become comfortable. And we will also explore some masters and absorb the importance of their history, their story, because I believe that a certain amount of famous artists and periods will broaden their minds. Studying art history helps understand our past and how it relates to our future. Now, using these artists as inspirations, the students will be able to imagine, create, and design their own artwork. And on top of that, their artwork will definitely be hung in the hallways at IC, which in a little bit, I will show you an example of a student who has done 8 projects in just one semester. So I'm super excited to show you that. I will also teach them the importance of technique. That's one of the important parts of my class. And part of that is critiquing. That is super big. Critiquing makes every artist improve their work and build their confidence. And it also is a basic constructive criticism. That's the basic meaning of it. And so, honestly, we look at our own art and our own peers of work and be able to discuss. So with that really explores what we like, explore what to add in our art, and really get to notice our hobbies, what are strengths and what are weaknesses. I don't believe in weaknesses though. So I do say to them that our strength will strengthen our parts of who we are that we need to work on more. So a lot of self-healing, self-excitement, self-creating happens in the class. And also, it also includes what we need to change. Now, by doing this, your daughters will learn how to present their work, how to discuss their work by using creativity, by using their knowledge and the lessons that they're learning about in their language. So they're going to think like an artist, they're going to talk like an artist, and they're going to be able to express like an artist and create. And each class works as a team and improve individuality. Now, I know we're virtual and we also in person. So the challenge is that I challenge students who are virtual and in person to work together, because that is the key to work and be able to evolve and create a beautiful message in art as they work. Many of these techniques, your daughters would learn how to use their expertise, their already knowledge that was given by you, and be able to put that into their presentations, would be able and can be able to use their own self-critiques, be able to have constructive criticism and accept that and be able to give it, to work individually and to work as groups, to use creativity, imagination, and brainstorming, as well as abstract thinking and problem solving, because I truly believe, I believe that we can make a difference, because I sees a difference. And so we as artists build these techniques, and that is required to have in my class. And you learn even more and more and more and be able to use that in the future. So I really look forward to other creativities of masters and be able to incorporate that into their own individuality. And I'm so excited that I can now show you an example of a student's work. So let's see if I can present. I'm super excited. Here's an example of this beautiful artist. I don't know if, do you see it? Okay, yes, you do see it. She started off, the student, with getting to know you. They start off with a self-portrait. Then usually the second project and on, we talk more about the historical aspects of art. So No-Tan they learn about. They also learn about the culture aspect of artists. So No-Tan is a Japanese form of art. And then they talk about this beautiful splatter paint, which is Jackson Pollock. And so that's a very different form of art where it's expressionism. And then they also talk about numerous of other arts. Now, not only they learn about art, the scientifics of it, the math of it, but they learn different mediums. So like studio arts to digital. And that becomes, the student becomes well-rounded. And I'm super excited that I'm able to also be in charge of the photography and the digital club. I'm super stoked because I have a client of mine that I've worked in the past, and now I'm able to also have my client as one of the speakers to talk to the students. So I'm super excited to, I look forward to seeing all the students and your daughters to work with me, and I'm excited to work with them. So that is my art class. And yes, keep in mind, artists solve problems. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Ms. Schetzel. And I thank you for sharing your passion. Your passion is really, truly inspiring to all of us, not only your students, but your fellow staff members as well. I know that walking into your room and watching art in action is so very exciting. And I can only wish that I was one of your students. But like I said, I get to see that all of the time. And it's so magical. Next up, we have Miss Cole Minio.
Good evening, everyone. It's so great to be here with you all this evening. I know you are all very familiar with me because at this point, now that I've been in the admissions position for about almost 6 years, I've enrolled all your daughters, and it is so great to now teach some of those girls and now seniors in psychology that I enrolled when they were just 8th graders. And I remember them at fairs and at Blue Bull visits and at open houses. So it's so nice to see how much they've grown and matured over their years at Immaculate, which I promised you 4 years ago that they would do. So it's amazing for me and the other teachers and the other administrators in the school to see how much your daughters have grown over their 4 years at Immaculate. I am so grateful and blessed to be able to teach such amazing young women each and every day and step out of my office for a little bit and go back into the classroom, which being a teacher was always my first passion in life. So I love going back into the classroom every day and teaching your girls psychology. I studied psychology undergrad at Wagner College, as well as education and special education, and became certified in both New York and New Jersey to teach. And then I continued at Wagner College to receive my literacy master's degree, which led me to Immaculate Conception as an English teacher. I started about 9 years, actually it's almost 10 years that I started at Immaculate as an English teacher. And even though I don't teach English anymore, I love to go and observe the English teachers and hear them in the hallway and hear them teach such wonderful novels. Mr. Rodriguez and Miss Connor do an amazing job. So each day during period B this semester, I will be teaching psychology. Psychology is so fun to teach. It's engaging, it's interactive, it's fun. It teaches the girls why they think and act the way they do and why others around them think and act the way they do. It's all about learning the perspectives and most of all, learning to think outside the box, which is pretty much a challenge with teenagers. But each and every day, I encourage them in the classroom in psychology to think outside the box, think about other perspectives, change the way we look at things and the way and those things that we're looking at suddenly change. All we have to do is change our perspective. Even if we're remote or we're in person, it's always interactive, and the girls will tell you that. Each and every day before we start, I always try to say to them, how are you doing? I think that's so important, especially in psychology, to make sure they're okay, especially during these times. It's so challenging, and I always want to make sure they can voice how they're feeling each and every morning. Sometimes I get them to speak up, other mornings I don't. It totally depends on the day, but they know in psychology, they can discuss anything, they can talk about anything. And that's why I love psychology. It's such an amazing subject to learn about yourself and other people. We study so many different topics. Right now, they are just finishing up learning about the foundation of psychology, the theorists, the perspectives, and we are just getting into nature and nurture. I don't know if they shared with you, but this morning they did presentations about themselves, about their stories, and they told me all about their families, their different traits, characteristics, if they think they got it from their nature, their genes, or their nurture, their environment. So it was a lot of fun. And I had them share feedback after class, and the emails I read were just amazing, how they loved that even though they've been friends for 4 years, they learned something new about someone today in class, and they really felt engaged in the topic, and they love to share their story as well. I think we forget that even though they're teenagers, just like little learners, they love to share too. So I always have them do a presentation or a quick project throughout the week just to get them to share and discuss. We also will be talking about development, child development, adolescence, adulthood, and then we go into emotions, motivation, what motivates us, what motivates others. We talk a ton about stress and anxiety. We spend a lot of time on that, especially during the pandemic. Last semester in psych, we spent quite a few weeks just talking about stress and anxiety and how we overcome that, and the toll it could take on your health. And then we talk about psychological disorders, and we do study autism, and we have a lot of autism awareness in our class. Last semester, which we will welcome her back this semester, we were lucky to have a parent who spoke about ABA. She's an ABA specialist working with children with autism, so the girls were really engaged in that. I try to do a lot of topics, and a lot of topics that they can bring with them to college and beyond. There's a lot of note taking, and I always tell them, these notes are not only useful now, but they're useful in college, because more than likely you'll take a psychology course in college, so take the notes with them. I've been teaching psychology at Immaculate now for 10 years, and it gets better and better every year. And during the pandemic, it's really interesting because we talk about the effects of, being in quarantine and being in isolation and what it does to our mental health. And I absolutely love psychology. I love teaching the girls. As much as they learn from me, I learn from them as well. And I think that's the best part of being a teacher. I learn every day from them, and every good educator is a lifelong learner. So it's really great to be able to learn from my students as well. I have seniors and juniors in this psychology class, so it's a nice mix. It's a small class, it's about 8 girls, but I really do like it small, and I thank Ms. Koval for keeping it small, not only for COVID safety, but for discussion purposes. One of the girls shared with me that they never spoke before in class. They were always shy, but psychology kind of pulls the words out of her. So I love to hear that. I love to give the girls a platform. Aside from teaching psychology, I also teach an online course. I teach children's literature, usually during the fall. This year we didn't provide that, but children's literature just goes into studying different authors that the girls learn throughout their younger years. And this semester online, I'm teaching child psychology. I have a couple of my psychology seniors from last semester who joined in on child psychology. And then I have about 15 girls who signed up for child psychology online. And I love it. An online course I think is great no matter what the content is. It teaches them time management, responsibility, knowing how to log in, be responsible for your assignments, being responsible for getting them in on time. And it's fun. Child psychology is a lot of fun. They study a lot about child development, emotionally, intellectually, socially, and I really enjoy teaching psychology and child psychology online. Everything is through Google Classroom. All assignments are posted there. I'm constantly in touch with them via Google Classroom. And this year in child psychology, we will have some face-to-face meetings as well on Google Meet. I just want to check on them and make sure they're staying on top of their assignments, because it's not a course where I would get to see them every day. So it's very exciting. Aside from teaching, as you all know, I am the coordinator of enrollment management. Another passion of mine is, promoting Immaculate Conception High School and what a wonderful place it is for girls to grow and develop into confident and compassionate and true leaders. It has been amazing to be in this position, to watch the girls grow, and most of all, give them the opportunity to attend Immaculate Conception High School, an all-girls school, and grow and develop. I attended a single-gender high school, an all-girls school, and it was the most amazing experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. So giving the girls that opportunity truly is, to me, invaluable. So even though I wear a lot of hats, I'm also the junior advisor. So we are prepping for our virtual ring day. So that is a lot of fun as well, and planning the junior events. So I do wear a lot of hats at Immaculate, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I work with amazing young women. I work with amazing faculty. And most of all, I work with amazing mentors who have helped me grow and develop into a leader as well. So last but not least, I have to say, class of 2025 registration is now open, but most of all, we are also accepting girls still into the class of 2025. So please spread the word, share it with cousins, sisters, friends, share our post on Facebook. That's a great way to spread the word and promote Catholic education, promote Immaculate Conception High School. It is my second home. It is the second home for all the teachers who are on the call tonight. and it's the second home for mostly all of your daughters. So please help spread the word. We are always looking for parent testimonials. So if you ever feel like you want to record yourself, please horizontally and share your daughter's experience. We would be happy to post that on our social media. We'll be happy to post that on our website. Testimonials are the best way to sell the school, especially now where we cannot have girls come and spend a day like your young daughters did when they were in 8th grade. The girls now don't get to spend the day to be a blue wolf because of COVID precautions. So testimonials are the best way to help the girls spread the word, and you to spread the word to the parents about what Immaculate has done for your daughters. So thank you. Thank you for sharing your daughters with us. I am so excited to teach them this year and help them grow and develop into beautiful, amazing, extraordinary young women. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you again.
Danielle, as always, thank you for what you do in the classroom and in the admissions office. You are a true rock star. One thing that you touched upon is the speaker series that I would love to get that information out to all of our parents and family members watching right now. If you or anyone you know would like to come in and speak in any of our course areas, please just feel free to email me at kkoval@ichslodi.org, or you can call my direct line, which is 973-836-4574. I don't know that number because I don't call myself. But again, we're always looking to enhance our curriculum with speakers in all different content areas. As you can see, I personally love back to school night. I do feel like it's the one night that the outside world gets to see and hear what I experience every single day within the classrooms and within the halls of Immaculate Conception High School. Thank you, IC teachers. We can't thank you enough for everything you're doing, especially during this time. Thank you, ICHS staff and administration. You each truly make learning fun. You make it exciting. You make it challenging and rigorous on a daily basis. And most importantly, you make Immaculate Conception High School the place that our girls truly feel at home. Please always remember, you will teach them to fly, but they will not fly your flight. You will teach them to dream, but they will not dream your dream. You will teach them to live your life. Nevertheless, in every flight, in every life, in every dream, the print of the way you taught them will always remain. These words spoken by Mother Teresa could never, ever be truer. Thank you, parents and students. We would like to thank you again for joining us this evening and for partnering with us on your daughter's academic journey. At IC, you feel loved, you feel accepted, you feel the difference. May God continue to bless you and your beautiful families today and always. Good night, everyone.